Hello, this is Dr. Scott. I happen to be an expert at chemistry. I've spent maybe a few decades pursuing this endeavor. I'm guessing that maybe you're not an expert at chemistry, and yet you are a homeschool parent interested in teaching chemistry to your young learners. And that's okay. You don't have to be an expert to teach chemistry. That's why we're here. So, learning about chemistry is about understanding the patterns that are embedded in the periodic table. So, first of all, it's a periodic table. It's not a list of elements, a giant list of things to memorize, right? Memorizing all the element names, properties is not going to teach you any chemistry. The periodic part of the periodic table refers to patterns that are repeated over and over and over again. This is what you want to focus on, the patterns, not the individual details. As an example, the horizontal rows in the periodic table mean something. These elements share something in column. These elements share something in common. The vertical columns of the periodic table mean something. These elements share something in common. And the closer two elements are on the periodic table, the more similar properties that they're going to have. My very absolute least favorite topic of discussion is debating how many elements there are. There are 92 naturally occurring elements, 92 being uranium. All elements above 92 are synthetic. They were created in a laboratory, probably back in the 1960s. These elements lasted maybe a millisecond before they collapsed under their own weight, vanished forever. For all purposes, the elements above 92 are fake elements. They don't exist here on planet Earth. You're never, ever going to encounter these elements in the real world, so why bother learning about them until you understand the basics first? So in terms of understanding the basics, you want to stay towards the sides of the periodic table and the top of the periodic table. If you know the names of elements number 1 to 30, the first 30 elements, plus a handful of other common elements like gold and silver, lead and tin, the halogens, barium. These 30 or 40 elements are going to cover 80 or 90% of the cases that you'll ever encounter in the real world. When you're teaching chemistry, you want to learn to distinguish between ionic compounds made from a metal to the left of the periodic table and non-metal to the upper right of the periodic table. And you want to distinguish these ionic compounds from covalent compounds, also known as molecules formed exclusively from the nonmetals in the upper right of the periodic table. As far as the ionic compounds go, there's one compound to understand. It's called table salt, NaCl, sodium chloride. If you can understand why it's NaCl and not NaCl3 or Na2Cl, then you're ready to move on and learn more about the ionic compounds. Focus on the basics first. Keep it simple. Table salt. Why is it NaCl? As far as molecules go, focus on water. Why is it H2O? Why is oxygen bonded to 2 hydrogens and yet has 2 lone pairs of electrons? If you don't understand the bonding structure of water, there is no reason to move forward. So I realize I'm probably getting to about the 7-minute point in this video. The most important lesson as far as teaching chemistry is to keep it short, Teach in small, digestible chunks. If your learner can't explain what they learned in 7 minutes, they probably haven't learned as much as you're giving them credit for. And again, focus on the basics, short, succinct explanations of ionic compounds, molecules. This is enough to study chemistry for at least a month or two. And if you are interested in learning more about chemistry, if you just want to send me a question, I'm available by email. It's dr.scott.beaver@gmail.com, as in dr.scott.beaver@gmail.com. And if you really want to get serious about chemistry, if your learner has found the motivation, feel free to look me up on outschool.com. Search Scott Beaver. I've got all sorts of fun, group, live, interactive classes in which your learner can pursue chemistry to the level matching their interest. Have a great day, everybody.